Hey everyone, I'm Kale Trickle here with my co-host, Senior Junior III, wishing you an enthusiastic welcome to Sylvan Woods Raceway.
It's great to be here, Kale.
If crews are getting their cars ready, expect some great racing today as we watch the highlights from the other 10 teams in Division 7 through 12.
The fans today are pretty crazy out there. There's some stuff I know you can't get away with in other counties.
Yeah, they're very hyped today. They're just excited to see the second half of our preliminary round of racing. We'll see some eager drivers who I'm sure are just as excited as the fans.
There's no better fans in this sport than Diecast racing fans, Kale.
Of course, Diecast racing fans are always hyped up for a race. I mean, tiny cars, fast speeds, awesome racetrack, thrills beyond belief. What more could you want?
That's an excited crowd.
Yeah, they are excited. They saw the first highlight reel and decided to come out in person to see this second group of qualifiers.
In Divisions 1 through 6, we saw some great racing out there, Kale, and today I expect even more in the second round of heats we have going on here today. I remember Megan Babushka with Russian Confectionery. She was amazing out there on the track.
Today we start out with 3 teams in Divisions 7 and 8. Looks like some muscle cars and some Indy cars.
Yeah, I'm fond of that Callahan racing.
That's right. Didn't you used to drive for Callahan?
I used to, but there was a little issue about me finishing over the line one too many times on my route.
Let's see how Callahan Racing does. We're going straight to Division 8 because Division 7 was very smooth.
As you can see, Ray starting from the back, looking to brag about coming from behind to win.
Looks like Winston Cat and that Blue Rider Dodger and TK By in the Mustang are way out in front. And as they're coming around the 4 turns, it looks like TK By will take first, then Winston Cat and Ghost. But where's Ray?
Ray's there upside down next to the Goodyear sign just on the far side of the tree line.
Yeah, how many times have we seen a car end up in that wood line here today?
Let's see what happens. Looks like he gets a little shove from behind from Ghost, just up and over the road into the trees on his roof.
Here we are, starting heat number 2, and Ray Zielinski on the pole. Everybody gets a good jump, headed into turn number 1.
Ray holds the lead going down the second straightaway, coming into that pesky second turn we've seen all day. Ray pulls out a fantastic move out of turn 2, holding off the field.
That was a daredevil move by Ray coming down the final stretch. He has a big lead, and it is Ray Zielinski with the win, followed by Watson Cat. What a heck of a race for heat number 2. Watson Cat is very consistent. Here we are, heat number 3, and Ghost is on the pole. Heading again into that turn number 1. Heat number 3 was a good race with Ray Zielinski taking the win. And as you can see, TK By ended up having the most points, though, for the division, but he was found to have an illegal carburetor and disqualified. And both Callahan teams will move on.
Yeah, I think the owner made the right call by replacing me this time.
Let's move on to the Division 9 and 10 highlights. Red Baron Racing, BAD, and SNS Racing. Looks like some more muscle cars.
Yeah, and SNS Racing Steve 1 took the honors out of Division 9. So let's take a look at some highlights from Division 10.
Heat 1 of Division 10 is on their way with Tommy Turner on the pole. And everybody got a great launch there, and TK By in that Mustang has a huge lead.
Looks like he has a whole herd of Mustangs under that orange Mustang he has.
He is absolutely pulling away from Tommy Turner in that Camaro. It's a Ford Chevy duel with TK By taking a huge victory. It wasn't even close.
As you can see here, Tommy Turner's been consistently second in this heat.
But with the contractual obligations that TK By has to film Diecast Thunder, he will not advance, and it will be Tommy Turner.
Well, Divisions 11 and 12 both have 4 cars, so TK By can be off filming Diecast Thunder.
In this group, we have Cyrus, Evil, Mario and Luigi, and Fast Track lined up and ready to go.
I'm looking forward to watching Mario and Luigi. They were my top students in my driving school.
And here we are in Heat 1 of Division 11. We got Carol Squirrel and Mario on the front. Everybody had a great launch, and look at that tight racing coming out of turn 1.
Mario still trailing down the second straightaway, heading into turn 2. and Carol Squirrel blocks him.
And coming into turn 3, and oh my goodness, Nero is on his roof, Mario is on his roof. What happened? Carol Squirrel blows the field away. Nero on his roof outside of turn 3. Mario was on his roof right by the finish line. The track safety crew has been on the scene and the drivers are out and okay.
This is crazy. I gotta see an instant replay of this. As you can see, Carol Squirrel taking the lead in the final turn. Nero up into the outside wall, ends up on his roof. Mario can't handle it coming out of the final turn, ends up on his roof. Luckily, he remembers my teachings and makes sure no one can pass him for any points.
And if you saw in that replay, Carol Squirrel was sideways coming to the finish line. Here we are in heat number 2. Matt is on the front pole, and Carol Squirrel starting alongside of him. And a great launch again by everybody. This is great heat racing. Turn 1 again, tight racing with Matt out front.
Yeah, Carol's back on stand for that. She makes her way into turn 2, takes the lead from Matt.
And here they come again down the last stretch into the final turn. Carol, and oh my goodness, look at that, Nero sideways blocking Mario. Take a look at this replay out of turn 2.
As you can see here, Carol pushes her way to the outside, cutting off the pack, taking the lead there. Going into the final turn, you can see Nero gets turned sideways by Mario.
And Carol Squirrel takes the first 2 heats of this division. And in the start of heat 3, Nero is on the pole with Matt on the outside. Everybody got a great jump again. And out of turn 1, it is Nero with a big lead.
Nero keeps the lead going down the second straightaway into turn 2.
Oh, Mario is on his roof. And as we come around turn number 3, what happened to Nero? Where'd he go? Matt won. And Carol Squirrel barely gets to the finish line. She doesn't quite reach, but what happened to Nero?
Let's take a look at this instant replay. As you can see, he gets airborne over the track's fire station into the outside wall of the final straightaway. Matt was able to see it coming out of that final turn and able to avoid the collision. But Carol was not so lucky as she hits the wall sideways. And as you can see, my student Mario came pretty far even though he was on his roof.
It looks like they're all attending your driving school there, SJ3. And with 9 points, no matter what happens to Matt in this last heat, he will move on. Everybody had a great jump again. And coming down the second hill, it is Nero with the big lead.
I think Matt heard your comment because this sure doesn't look like he's trying this heat.
And here we come into the third turn. And what happened to Nero again? He is nowhere to be seen. Mario ends up winning, followed by Carol Squirrel and Matt in third, but where's Nero? There's Nero again, off the track, just outside the third turn on his roof. The track safety team was there, and everybody was alright. Carol Squirrel and Matt will move on. So here we see an updated bracket featuring Carol and Matt. Both are moving on. And with Carol's 14 points, she has the highest point total of any preliminary heat, beating out Megan Babushka's 13 points.
Well, from what I saw from Carol today, I am not surprised. Smart, gritty, driving often beats raw speed. Today was no exception.
Well, on to our last division in the preliminary heats. Division 12 highlights are coming up.
Just listen to that Sylvain Woods crowd. They're still as hyped as they were this morning.
I'm sure they are, but let's hear it from them.
Got all the racing car, but still gets my engine revved.
In this last division, we have Carol's brother Nigel, Frank Driscoll Jr., Luigi, and Joan M. And in heat number 1 of Division 12, Nigel Squirrel's on the pole with Luigi on the outside. Coming out of turn 1, it is a very tightly contested race with Luigi and Nigel. Joan M pushes Luigi ahead.
And they're coming down to the third and final turn with Luigi and Joan.
There's Luigi, but Joan is on her roof. What happened? We're going to have to take a look at this.
Let's take a look at this instant replay here. You can see Luigi and Joan fighting for the lead. Luigi comes down to block Joan. Joan ends up on her roof. But luckily for Joan, she was able to maneuver herself in front of the other drivers to give her a second place finish.
Is she one of your driving school candidates?
She'd make a perfect driving school candidate for my school.
As you can see in heat number 2, Joan does come back and win. In heat number 3, Frank Driscoll Jr. is on the pole with Joan on the outside. Coming out of turn 1, Frank has the lead, but Joan is getting a good push from Luigi. Coming out of turn 2, it's Frank with the lead.
Don't give up on Luigi. We know he can win on this track.
Coming down the final stretch, it looks like Luigi ends up on his roof. We're going to have to go check that one out. And there he is. Oh, he is hit by Nigel Squirrel. What happened there with Nigel just ramming Luigi? Thankfully, the track safety crew is there and everybody's okay.
Let's take a look at this quick replay. You can see Frank in the lead with Joe, and Luigi just can't hold on coming out of the final turn there. I know Nigel's been having a rough day, but he doesn't have to take his frustrations out on the racetrack. Somebody could get seriously hurt.
Does that give you flashbacks, SJ3?
Oh, every time I close my eyes, I always see him upside down.
And here we go in heat number 4. Luigi's on the pole for this one. And coming down the second straightaway, it is Luigi and Frank Driscoll.
Jones right behind them. Jones can easily make up this in the final turn. Let's see what happens coming out of this final last turn.
And here they come to the finish line. It's going to be Frank Driscoll in a tight race over Luigi. But with that, Joan M and Luigi do move on. Well, that's it. We now have the field for round 2. Here we see the Division 7 through 12 qualifiers.
Let's remind everyone of the results from Divisions 1 through 6 qualifying.
And who can forget Megan Babushka in her red armored truck?
Right. And here are the groupings for round 2's racing.
It will be interesting to see how Megan does against that field. She's matched up against Boo Boo Bear, Beck, and the Stig.
Let's not forget about Carol Squirrel. With the highest qualifying score of all the racers, all of the other drivers are sure to gun for the purple and green number 4. I'm excited for round 2. This is an exciting race format. I love it. The fans love it. They can't wait for round 2.
Me too. So that wraps up the highlights for today. Next time we'll show each race in their entirety, and it promises to be some exciting racing. We'd like to thank all our sponsors and to the Game Table Cafe for hosting us.
Thanks for the cool 10.
For my partner, Senior, Junior the Third, I am Cale Trickle, and we'll see you down the track.